Good morning, lovely friends. I don't know if you can tell it's morning because it's so blinking dark. We have yet another grizzly, miserly, grey day. But actually, I'm sort of glad of it because whilst there are things I need to do in the garden and I would love to get on with them, the problem for me is every time the weather is halfway decent, I just want to be in the garden, so I neglect things that need to be done indoors. So, grotty grey day, but that's perfect for getting on with some long overdue jobs. And the thing I need to do today is probably overdue by, well, at least a year. So, I'm going to do some hair care today. Now, I was thinking about this. Oops, sorry, I banged the table with my leg. Yeah, I've been thinking about this, or doing the hair stuff, but just in general over the last month. The thing about being frugal is it takes time. Everything takes longer than if you're doing it with money. And you know, there are so many things which I've given up in the last 2.5 years it is now without a wage. Loads of things I've given up, but frankly I don't miss them. It's fine. Why did this? Oh, I know. I was at my great aunt's last week, and she has subscriptions to a couple of magazines. She gets a couple of gardening magazines. God love her, that's how she gardens these days, with the magazines. And she was asking me if I wanted to, stacks and stacks of the old ones, did I want to bring them home so that I could read them here? So I didn't really want to upset her by saying no outright, so I brought a couple of her magazines home, but frankly I'm not going to get time to read them. And that's what I mean about not missing things. I used to buy loads of magazines, never gardening ones or cooking ones, funnily enough, but I used to like, there's a magazine called Country Living, and it's got all sorts in it, from sort of rural affairs, some sort of bits on cooking, bits on gardening, bits on crafting. Really used to enjoy it. But it's about £6 a copy, which is crazy, isn't it? So, you know, imagine if you're buying 3 or 4 mags a month, £6 a week, that's over £20 a month. Crazy. So obviously, the minute I stopped having a wage, things like magazines had to go. I used to buy The Guardian on a Saturday, because there's this great chunky episode on a Saturday, and it would last me all week. I loved all the puzzles and games in it. I don't know how much it costs now. It's probably about £1, but again, that went. And like I say, I really, really don't miss them. But there are some things I miss. Well, it's very simple. What I miss is convenience and having free time. Because like I say, being frugal, everything takes longer. So if you think about just your weekly food shop, my weekly food shop is basically growing my own food. So how many hours do I put into growing my own food to produce it for then me to go and then pick that food? Or, you know, all the hours I spend preserving. Oh, by the way, none of this is a moan or a whinge. It's just me reflecting on, you know, how things have changed. So yes, there's no convenience of just going to the shop and buying food. Likewise, for instance, at the end of a really long day, when I'm dead on my feet, proper pooped, you know, 3-4 years ago, let's say I finished a shift at work, really tired, on my way home at 10 at night, don't have a shift the next day, so I'll probably stay up till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, just getting rid of that shift, as it were, from my head. Quite often on my way home, I think, oh, do you know what? I fancy a pizza. Can't be bothered to cook, I'll get a pizza. How much is a takeaway pizza? £10? And even if I was to buy one of those, you know, the sort of the freshly prepared ones but they're not cooked. You get them in the supermarkets. They're like, what, £5? So there's definitely a big impact on one's time when there's no money, when everything has to be done from scratch, when everything has to be done, say, off one's own back and from home, rather than just being able to go out and throw money at a problem, basically. Anyway, yeah, so those thoughts have been going around in my mind the last few days. And so coming back to this hair thing, the easiest thing to do, of course, would be to go to a hairdresser. But now I don't know what prices are like around the rest of the country. I think, there are so many ways and situations where London is more expensive than other places, and I'm sure that's the same for hairdressing too. So around here there's a few local salons. So the one I used to go to, for instance, really lovely lady. Oh, and what's gorgeous is, so I was going to her for a number of years, and when I got my plot, oh my goodness, I was in love with my plot straight away. So every time I was sitting in the chair, we'd end up talking about veg growing, because she's a vegetarian too, so we'd always talk about food and the recipe ideas. She's a big animal lover too, and we both had dogs and da-da-da. So I'd always be chatting away about my allotment and how great it is having this space to grow my own food. And eventually she got so sick of listening to me talking about my allotment, she got her own allotment. Yay! She really struggled in the first year. I'd go in and see her, I'd say, how's it going? And she was at that stage where it was just all work and no pleasure, sort of having to clear it, and hours of digging out roots and weeds and what have you. And during the course of that first year, she often spoke about just giving the plot up completely. And I'd sort of encourage her and say, no, don't. Honestly, it gets easier, it gets better. Please trust me. Anyway, here we are. Now it must be about 6 years later, 5 or 6 years later. She loves it. She absolutely adores it. Every week she puts her pictures up on her Facebook page. She doesn't have a public Facebook page. I mean, we're friends on Facebook. Anyway, so all around the houses, cut a long story short, and it's about cutting long hair short. So I haven't been to a hairdresser for 2 years. I had my hair cut just before I stopped work, so it was in March 2017, and then in October of 2017 I had a trim, but since then no haircut, because back to that whole price thing, getting a really basic haircut without having some fancy shampooing and blow drying and all that, it costs around here, it's about £40. I mean, can you imagine it? 40 quid. Now 40 quid for me at the moment, I'll catch you all up on this properly when I get to the end of November. Yeah, at the moment 40 quid is having to do me for about 2 months. Things are really, really tight. So there's no way I can pay 40 quid. And there are a couple of places, there's in the sort of the next sort of town over from me, there's a chain of places called, I think it's called Super Cuts or Cheap Cuts or something. You can't get an appointment, you just go and wait in a queue, and when a seat becomes free, plonk you in the seat, give you a haircut, off you go. Dead basic, no frills, nothing. You can wait for 2-3 hours, some days you can walk in and wait 10 minutes. But even that's about, I think it's about 15 quid out of my reach at the moment. So I'm going to have a go at cutting my own hair today, just to give you an idea of how long it's got. Let me get my hairbrush. See, it's way down here. I normally keep my hair about this length. So Now the thing is, I've always been handy with a pair of scissors. For example, I cut my great aunt's hair. I always used to cut my grandma and my granddad's hair. In the past, when I've had a fringe, I've always cut my own fringe, but I've never cut, I've never cut the lengths. And one of the things I've been a bit concerned about is the fact that because my hair is so fine and it's poker straight, that any discrepancy in the middle at the back would show. But then I thought, do you know what, these days I hardly ever wear my hair down because I'm not going out, I don't go out and do fancy things these days. So I thought, well, you know what, even if it is a bit at the back, who cares? I wear it up most of the time. So yeah, not an issue. Now you might think, why don't you just cut it all off? I have had my hair really short once, back in my punkish days. I think having long hair is kind of a hangover from my acting days because as an actor I always needed to have my hair so that it was versatile for whatever production I was in, because mostly doing sort of classical theatre, anything from sort of mid 18th century to early 20th century, you need long hair to be able to put it up in the style of whatever that time was. So yes, long hair, bit of a hangover from the acting days, but also it's just, I was going to say it's easier than short hair, which seems silly because you might think short hair, no styling or whatever, but actually if I had short hair I'd have to have it cut more often. So I'm going to have a go at cutting it today. Before I cut it, I'm going to wash it. And here's my frugal girl's guide to hair care. So, number one, the best thing you can do for your hair, or one of the best things, if there's any hairdressers out there, they may say differently, but for me, one of the most important things, there are two actually, don't whack the chemicals on. And I'm sure these days that there are loads of hair dyes and whatever which are much kinder to our hair, but you know, as kind as they are, it ain't natural. I don't think it's good for the environment, I don't think it's good for my hair, so I don't do anything these days in terms of colouring or bleaching my hair. In my younger days, my hair varied from orange to purple to goodness knows what, using henna, so at least it's a sort of a natural product. But so no chemicals go on this. And the other thing, no heat. So I never dry my hair, I just let it air dry. Generally, I wash my hair in the bath at bedtime and I go to bed with my hair wet. And people are going to go, oh, you can't go to bed with your hair wet. The cold virus does not know the moisture content of your hair. If you're going to get a cold, you're going to get it not because of wet hair, but because of, you know, immunity that's not so good. So yeah, no heating. Occasionally I do style it to put curls in. If I'm doing that, again, just after my hair's washed and wet, either rag it or, you know, with spongy rollers, whatever it is, put them in while it's wet, go to sleep, in the morning, take it out, ta-da, I've got curls. I would love to have natural curls, and I'm quite sure that everybody who has got natural curls is thinking right now, oh, I'd love to have straight hair like yours, Vivi. We always want the other thing, don't we? So yeah, no chemicals, no heat. Now back to the being frugal. So at the moment for shampoo, I use a shampoo bar. Great, cutting down on that plastic. They're not cheap, these bars. They range in price from, I'd say, about sort of £3.50, £4 to sort of £8, but they last ages. Now, I would love to make my own shampoo bars, and I'm sure that's what loads of you are thinking as well, is to go really frugal, make your own. There's two issues with that. One, to buy the ingredients, that would cost me more than a bar of the soap that the shampoo is costing me. Okay, I would have those ingredients to make more bars, but the shelf life of the ingredients, you know, one of these bars lasts me anywhere between 6 months and a year. if the shelf life of those ingredients is going to go off, you know, after a year or so, well, I'll have only got 1 or 2 bars out of it before I have to ditch them. So I can't afford to buy the bulk of the ingredients to make them with. But also, back to what I was saying at the beginning, it's a time issue. Purely and simply a time issue. You know, I have so many ideas, creative ideas for things I would like to do and make, and it always comes back to this time thing. You know, essentially my time is taken up first and foremost with growing my own food and processing it and cooking it and eating it. After that, my time is used up with, you know, making videos, doing my sewing, those bits which keep me going and just about pay the bills, just about. After that, there's very little time to do things like make my own soap or shampoo. Who knows? Maybe next year I'll get a bit more time. I don't know where from. Anyway, yes, so nice gentle shampoo bar, and then I'm going to make some liniment because I'm going to wash my hair. I mean, it's not particularly dirty, but I want to wash it so it's nice and wet for me to cut it. So I'm going to make up my hair conditioner. Actually, come on, let's move over there and let's make some conditioner together. Actually, conditioner is a bit of a misnomer. This isn't a conditioner, it's more of a sort of a rinse and a tonic. Partly to get rid of any of the sort of soapy residue, mainly to get rid of any soapy residue after I've washed my hair, but also it's a great scalp tonic, just waiting for the kettle to boil. Now, I gave up using commercial conditioners it's about 2 years ago now. It was partly because, well, the bottle I had on the go ran out, and for some reason that week I didn't have any cash to go and buy another bottle, but I thought, I wonder if this is something I could do without, because if I can do without it, that's going to save me quite a few quid over the coming months. And I think I'd fallen, like so many of us do, for the adverts, especially, like I'm saying, because my hair is so fine, incredibly fine. It tangles really easily. It's almost at the boil, so I'm just going to take it off just before it's on the boil. Yeah, with my hair being so fine, it does tangle really easily. So the advertisers would have me believe that my hair being long and fine definitely needs a conditioner. Oh, but not one that's going to weigh your hair down. You don't want that when you've got fine hair, but it's going to make it tangle free, You know how it goes. Yeah, I'd fallen hook, line and sinker for all the advertising. So I ran out of that bottle, and over the next, I think it was about 2 weeks or so, I was washing my hair and not using conditioner, and I suddenly realised my hair doesn't really feel any different. Actually, it did feel different in that it felt lighter. It actually felt cleaner and lighter without the conditioner. So I thought, after a couple of weeks, I'll keep going without a conditioner and just see how my hair does. And here we are, 2 years after my last haircut. And actually, yes, the ends of my hair do split, but that's partly because I'm a bit of a hair twiddler. I do that. I do twiddle my hair. Always have done. So this whole bunkum as well about using conditioner to prevent split ends, I don't think that's true either. And I would say, I'll just show you again. I would say that for I have to come right up here. That for 2 years of 2 years of not using any conditioner, and the light's not very good, is it? Has it had any detriment on my hair? No, of course it hasn't. And although the light's not very good in here, so you can't see, you can see it in the gardening videos quite often as I'm bending down or whatever, if the camera's towards the side. You can see that my hair is shiny. I don't need conditioner to make my hair shiny either. Just need it to be looked after a little bit, but mostly left alone. Right, let's make this rinse so that I can go and get my hair washed before I start cutting. Quite simply, I've got some of my dried rosemary here that I stripped from the branches. Oh, it smells gorgeous. This is the last of the prunings I did way back in, gosh, I think it was March. Come on, out you come. So I stripped all this off the branches when they were quite dry, and then I just store it all in a big cotton bag, and then I decant it every now and again to one of my little jars like this, and this just sits on the side of the bath ready for me to use. But this is the last of it, so I need to get on with the next batch. So about a handful into my teapot. And then, like I say, this water's just off the boil. Come on, fill up. And I'm just going to leave that to steep now. I'll leave it, ideally, I suppose I would make this about half an hour before I'm going to wash my hair. So it's got a good long steep, and then it's got time to cool a bit, because obviously I don't want to put boiling water on my head. And then when it comes to using it, tea strainer obviously, my little jug, strain it into my jug, take it into the bathroom. After I've washed my hair, use it for a final rinse. Easy peasy. So, come on, brew. Let me go and get my hair washed. Washed, rinsed. Just better get on with this, hadn't I? I've only got a really small mirror in the bathroom. I don't have a dressing table, so I brought it in here. But to put it at the right height, I've grabbed 3. There's another one there of these tomes. This is 2 volumes, it's the notebooks of, and then the final volume, it's the sketchbooks of Leonardo da Vinci. Oh, gorgeous, amazing. I was just grabbing them off the shelf. Oh, look at that, that's amazing, look at that. Yeah, I just grabbed them off the shelf, and I'm trying now. I'm trying not to be distracted. I am. Right, stop that, Vivi, this moment. So stack those there. Will the mirror sit on the top? I have a little bit of trepidation about this. So, I suppose I ought to start with a chunk in the middle. I'm going to be like, is it my cousin It? I was going to say my cousin It. Oh, and fling the comb around. I should just say as well, if you are going to cut your own hair, it's definitely worth investing in some actual, this is the most ridiculous image, some actual proper hairdressing scissors. So these are the ones I have from my great aunt. So I just borrowed them when I went to see her a few days ago. Right. I suppose because if I do the middle bit first, then I put my middle parting back in, push that bit to that side and do that last, and then do this side first. Well, here goes. Is that how I want it? We might as well have a good chunk off, eh? Yeah, let's do that. That's quite a long, look, you can see how, oh, my hair's so fine, it's ridiculous. Right, let's just get on with this. And of course, afterwards, I'll put my hair in the compost, because like I said, now you see I can't see now. Let's push that bit aside. I'll put my hair in the compost bin. So I'm going to get it. Oh, it's hard to look in the mirror to do it because I'm feeling back to front. That's not going to do it. Hang on a second. Maybe I need to take more off that bit. Maybe if I do it at that angle. I think I might need to... This is not as easy as doing someone else's hair. Maybe if I look down rather than do it in the mirror. Hang on a sec, because that's now... what I don't want to do is take a chunk out of somewhere else and think, oh no, that's not even, try and even it up, and then just keep taking chunks out everywhere. Do you know what though? I don't care. Who's going to see it? Who is going to see my hair? Oh dear. Yeah. I suppose the other thing I could do, if this doesn't go according to plan, the other thing I could do, of course, is ask one of my plot buddies. But then would someone want that responsibility? I don't know. I would do it for one of my plot buddies. Oh, this is so difficult doing it in the mirror. Oh dear. When we were kids, Mum used to cut our hair, and after our hair was cut, we'd gather up all the bits from the floor, and it's sort of weirdly spooky now when I think about it, but we used to then put all our bits of hair in the rose bushes, amongst the thorns of the rose bushes, for the birds to come and peck away. Well, this is what we were told. We were told that we were putting it in the bushes for the birds to come and peck at, and for them to build their nests with. I like the idea of all these birds with their nice cosy nests made from my hair. This is what the hairdressers do, isn't it? They pull down either side to feel that it's the same length. Oy vey. Oh dear. I can see. Oh, do you know what? Let's get hacking, and then I can always try and go round afterwards and neaten it up, can't I? Tangles, tangles. I wonder how long it takes for hair to compost. I'm just thinking about, I watch, every now and again, I like to watch these sort of like archaeology shows. Oh my goodness, that's so different. Snip, snip. Yeah, you know, like Time Team, that sort of thing. And it seems like, obviously our flesh is the first thing to rot and go, but it seems like hair is the last thing left on any of these ancient bodies that get found. So I'm just wondering, if I do put my hair in the compost heap, how long is it going to take to disappear? I've got no way of knowing what's going on at the back. Oh, I know what I could do. I could just bring it up like that. Is that going to give me an idea? No, not really. How am I going to do the back? Let's bring it all round to the side. That'll give me a rough idea. Yes, I think my advice would be get a friend to help. Oh, I think I just got into my top. Do you know what? I think that will do. I think that will do for now. That, I think, has got the worst of those long straggly ends off. Oh, look, that's so uneven. Was my head uneven? Am I sitting unevenly? Oh well, you know, by the time, like I said, by the time it's all clipped up and out of the way again, much neater. So the verdict is, yeah, try it yourself. Let me just get my clip because it's going to annoy me being down. I might see if I can borrow a mirror from my next door neighbour so I can have a little look around the back. But I have to say, probably using 2 mirrors is going to be even more convoluted. But yeah, stuff it. Try it yourself. I think if you don't have the kind of job where you have to look perfect and immaculate each day, then, you know, you've got nothing to lose. Who do I see these days that I need to look presentable for? Well, you could say I ought to try and look presentable on my videos, but I'm long since past caring about that. Way too much fun getting muddy. But yeah, maybe at some point, like I said, I'll have a go at, well, it's all sticky now, at making some shampoo for myself. Certainly, I don't need commercial conditioner. I'm more than happy to just use my rosemary hair rinse. In the summer, I really like to use the calendula. So exactly the same way, a handful of dried calendula petals straight in. It's supposed to be good for blondes and strawberry blondes and those with little bronzy coppery tones to their hair. So yeah, give it a go yourself, making your own rinses, and if your hair is long and annoying you, have a go at hacking some of it off. I'm off to see if I can find another mirror. I will see you all again really soon, I hope, but for now, from me and my slightly shorter hair, it's a cheery O on this grotty grey day again. It doesn't look like it, does it? It looks quite light. It's not, I assure you. Bye for now.